Major League Pennant Chase
Oh,
song
Pennant
stuck in my
Chase. It's a
head.
good. It's a good
great.
jam.
It's a good jam. It's so 80s. I love it.
I knew I wanted that too when I did. I was like, I gotta find this. This is going to be the thing I was just like, I need some music in the background of this. But with that, you are watching the return of Dad's Bet Baseball live.
We're back.
Slippin Jimmy and Berg here. I'm not even going to call you CJ Buskey anymore. I'm just going to say Slippin Jimmy.
Slippin Jimmy. That's it.
And I don't have a cool moniker. Mine's just Berg.
You're just Berg. You're the Berg. You're the hype man. You're Berg.
Yeah, but there's no. Anyway, well, look, this is brought to you by our sponsor, Hall of Fame Bets, which you're watching us live because now we are live again. There's a QR code on the screen. We're going to talk a little more about Hall of Fame Bets when we do our Hall of Fame Bets segment, but they are excellent for every single split and hit rate and research that you could want across sports. They even have Crown CBB, which is the other tournament that's happening this week in addition to March Madness. And we use it obviously frequently for baseball, for hockey, for basketball. So use code DADS. You get 50% off the first month. This is, again, a product that we actually use, and we will show you that in about 10 minutes when we go into our segment. But Hall of Fame Bets, hofapp.com, 7-day free trial and 50% off your first month using code DADS. CJ, you, and first of all, thank you for going with me on the journey that was 30 and a half MLB team previews.
What was the half? What was the extra half?
Best bets episode.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That counts.
Best bets episode was.
I'm proud of us, man, and I'm proud of our guy Spencer, of our producer, for hanging in tough. He did God's work on putting all those together. I think we were talking about backstage before we went live here. I anticipated when we were recording those, I'm like, oh, Adam's going to find like 3 or 4 guests for a couple of big ones. Like maybe we'll certainly do one for the Phillies. We'll do one for the Mets. And then like, we'll have a couple other ones. And then it turned out that, yeah, you know a lot of guys, you know a lot of people. And we ended up having so many guests.
This is coming up on a pod. This is that second
a little earlier today. We'll be here in a few weeks,
Yeah.
But it was awesome, man. I had so much fun recording them. I can't wait until next year to do them. But I'm stoked that the season's actually kicked off and we can just resume our regularly scheduled programming of our 2 shows a week here.
Yeah, we finished really strong too. And like Spencer was like, this is how much, like, because look, Spencer loves us, but he doesn't work for free. And he said, this is how much these cost. And CJ and I canoodled for a second. And I'm like, no, and they were like, higher. And so no, because CJ, dude, Spencer's the 3rd member of this and he put it all together. And so again, thank you to everybody who was listening to those, because we got to 5,000 downloads. We had a ton of new people who listened to those. I hope you got some bets out of it. I hope that you aren't just riding $8,000 worth of futures like CJ and I am, which we will also talk about in a moment. But it's also been a big week for us because obviously you guys know we have our product, Handigraphs, and we had huge launch last week. A lot of you guys jumped on and started using it. Saw the video that had Major League Pennant Chase theme, but we're not going to do a whole what is Handigraphs 101. Basically, it's a data platform for baseball and hockey capping. DFS, use it for fantasy, that helps you tell good metrics from bad metrics using red and blue. And we have a lot of splits, and we've just introduced a bunch of different AI features that allow you to just make life easier. And CJ, we have like some really cool stuff here that I want you to show off because I'm proud of it. And why don't you just sort of take it away as we kind of give the what's new with Handigraphs sponsored segment.
We'll try also to like actually talk about some real players and shit.
We do. We have some good stuff to talk about.
So we're not really just trying to make this like a promotional sort of.
No. We also talked about this backstage where it's like, guys, this is the one time we're going to do. Well, maybe another time during the year. But we promise, but opening weekend, you got to kind of deal with this. Plus, we're bringing in Javon on Wednesday, so you know you're getting a good episode.
Well, so that's one of the things we'll kind of highlight that we've been able to see in the opening weekend. Man, I'm excited to talk about rookies with Javon. I just love every time Javon comes on the show.
That's the story. That is the story of the moment. I can't wait to talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you're familiar with Handigraphs, we launched a bunch of new stuff in the last week. We've got Game Center. If you were familiar when we launched for hockey, this was one of our most popular features. So you can go in, you can see, for example, if we go into this Phillies game, which Game Center apparently nailed, saying that Walker was going to get absolutely blown up, and
yeah, wait, hold on.
Happen.
Do we want to read? Can we read? Let me hold on. Let me read it.
The Nationals, you want to go to the AI Insights?
Yeah, this is great here for our under. Nationals bring a surging offense into a highly favorable hitting environment at Citizen Bank Park with winds blowing out. Foster Griffin showed solid strikeout stuff in spring training. Yeah, they didn't even hang a number. While Taijuan Walker continues to struggle with hard contact, expect Washington's left-handed heavy lineup to exploit Walker's vulnerabilities in a high-scoring affair. I would like to go. While you were talking, I'm going to go to the box score for this. We will use future friend of the program, Baseball Savant. And I just want to see how many people. Foster Griffin Cade 5 people.
There you go. And I think what do we have as there we go. He had over 4.5 as one of the recommendations.
I forget about I always forget to scroll down.
His props. Yeah. Cause we do have like targets. You can, by the way, again, the same things for hockey. We have the same feature for hockey, but for baseball, yeah, you can scroll down. I think one of my favorite things that when I'm capping games that I always think about is, all right, it's one thing if this pitcher, for example, is really bad against left-handed bats, but like how many people in the opposing lineup are left-handed? And you can do that. Like you can go obviously and manually calculate that. But in each one of the Game Center cards, there's a little section here for platoon interaction that's just going to list, here's how many of the opposing opposite-handedness hitter that pitcher is facing.
I also had no idea that we had this.
I find that very valuable. I don't know about you, but like I think that's great. Like I want to know if a righty is facing, like there's some teams you just know they're going to roll out a bunch of lefties, but some lineups, like especially when they're changing platoons, you're going to see more of one-handedness or the other. So I think that's a cool feature that you have there. We obviously have weather in here that you can go in and check out each one of the different cards and different prop targets, etc. So it's worth mentioning. And this is also as far as we have another feature on the site called Edge Center. Again, release that for hockey. Think of that as like taking all the good stuff.
Shout out Andrew McKinnis and Mark Drumheller, who use this so religiously. A lot.
So the Edge Center though is basically it's just basically taking all the good stuff from Game Center. And it's like, all right, you want a summary of all this stuff? Like, and what are the best sort of spots in terms of matchups? That's what Edge Center is. So that's going to have like all of your best starting pitchers, your batters, and we also rolled out as what is it? Is Dong? Was it Dongmen? What was the one that you have as your Dong filter?
Well, by Dong filter,
Ball Goes Boom. What's the
Ball Goes Boom is basically guys who could be hitting a home run or might have just hit a home run. But I have Dong Patrol is my guys. Dong Patrol is like an aggressive home run filter featuring Brendan Donovan's on.
Of course, Owen Cassie is on this list, by the way, for home.
Oh yeah, Owen Cassie's on this list too.
Yeah,
also,
we'll talk about him on Wednesday.
It's Owen Cassie. So is Chase DeLauder. We may have to tweak the Dong filter because it's super aggressive, and I think Ball Go Boom is really both of them. Anyway, we'll figure it out offline. Yeah. But that's what it does.
The other thing I was going to point out with this though, and this kind of goes for Game Center, and it's also just a general note for capping stuff early in the season. So we put in the most weight into the first week when we're capping and when we're trying to figure out what are the best sort of spots for Game Center and Edge Center. Majority is actually weighted on spring training data. So we're looking at who are the guys that
this was a discussion between you and I that changed things last week.
We literally had our own one-on-one podcast, not recorded, all about this last weekend, where we tried to kind of go through all of the different trenches. So you'll see like the first week. And I would just recommend this also for any bettors. If you have spring training data, which Handigraphs does, I would weight that more depending on if you can at least get for batters, especially around like 20 plate appearances. And if for pitchers, if you get even just like a couple of starts in spring training, very useful. Emerson Hancock last night, prime example of that, looked awesome in spring training. Every single one of his metrics looked like he was absolutely slaying guys. And he looked great last night. I know it was against the Guardians. The Guardians can't hit still, except DeLauder. But so we do that the first week. Second week, we start to kind of weigh in the 2026 season. And then you guys kind of get the drill. Like by the third week, mostly 2026. And then towards the middle end of April is when we're going to be weighing that the most for 2026. So anyway, so Game Center, Edge Center, both here. Weather. Thank you, by the way, to the HD community for constantly keeping me on my toes with the weather. Specifically, there's one member that likes to always call this stuff out. That
there's a couple. I shout out Joe Dollar. Shout out Matt Brown. It's
Treats. Also, thank you for your contributions there. But yeah, we had weather. We rolled that out. We made some adjustments from some like the park dimensions aspect, but it's great. This updates pretty much every hour, and we also have some dynamic sort of logic in here that'll figure out if like the roof is going to likely be retracted or not, which is pretty cool. The last thing though that I'll just kind of highlight as we're going into guys that, you know, made an impression or did not make an impression the first weekend. So I started prepping for the pod with the new Ask Handigraphs agent that you can go use. So like if you see it, anybody for watching, you can see it on the screen. You just go click right here. And this is just your personal research assistant. So like if you guys are going to ChatGPT or going to Gemini and you want to have a chat that is specifically targeted to what you're looking at in Handigraphs, you got it right here. This is what Ask Handigraphs is. So like you can see right here, I just put, I'm prepping for my podcast. Look at the current season. Give me 3 batters who are red hot. Spencer Horwitz, I guess, has looked awesome. I didn't realize that Spencer Horwitz was hitting. He's
always
so
awesome.
Well.
The Hebrew Hammer is
the
awesome.
Hebrew Hammer.
That's why.
Also, one of the reasons why I don't know if I texted you this yesterday, but I was like, if the Pirates get swept, I actually still feel better about this team than I did prior to the weekend. Like I thought the Pirates could have actually almost swept the Mets based on some of the way that they had played, but he's on that list. We talked about this guy in the preseason. I love him. I think Shea Langoliers is great. He was awesome this weekend in Toronto. And, you kind of go and see like some of his stats. He had 3 home runs, I think, in the first 3 games, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah. He's better than Nick Kurtz.
Yeah, who has not looked very good. Interesting that Daniel Johnson came up. He only has 2 plate appearances. So, look, it's with anything. You got to kind of review some of the stuff that it comes back with. The other thing I thought, as a future standpoint, by the way, not a great start for me on my Josh Naylor over hits prop for, I think it was 160 plus or 170 plus. I got to look back at the exact number. But yeah, 0 for 18. Not great, Bob. Like, had a absolutely, like, could not have asked for a worse start.
Well, let's save our futures in play, futures not in play for a little later.
Right now, point. Yeah. If I wanted to prep for that future segment, I can just go ask Handigraphs to do it. I'm like, hey, tell me the guys that suck, and then I can just tell it like, oh, here's my bets. Here's the guys that I had some of my.
It's funny because I did tell it he sucked, and guess who stunk.
Bo Bichette is it? I guarantee you're going to be.
Yes, and so Bo Bichette's there. In fact, there's alarming issues with some of his hitting. They pointed out the 53% K rate and the fact that his expected is so low. And also Brent Rooker stinks.
Yeah,
so
Brent
take that baseball Twitter who seems to think that Brent Rooker is the best player on that team or what.
Shea Langoliers is what bet on Brent Rooker every season. We talk about this where he has stretches where he's like unstoppable, and you'll get him at like 2+ total bases for plus 135, plus 140, and you just have to hammer him for like 2 or 3 weeks, and then I feel like he is a rich man's Gino Suarez in some ways.
I think that's a solid comparison. I would say, I mean, that dude's closer to Ryan Howard than he is any actual player right now. I mean, but yeah,
Suarez yeah.
Oh, Brent Rooker. Brent Rooker. He's a white Ryan Howard. But a white right-handed Ryan Howard. Yeah, I would go with Gino Suarez.
Yeah. I mean, I thought it was also hilarious yesterday where Gino had like every single time that they had runners on in his first weekend with the Reds, he had either struck out or basically done nothing. And then of course, like he had a 3-run bomb and everybody's like, oh gee, that's the Gino we missed. Like, this is what he does. He doesn't do anything except basically hit dingers and have like spots that he's going to get red hot. But yeah, man, a lot of cool stuff going on at Handigraphs. And I'd like to also, by the way, point out that look, we have a lot of great stuff at Handigraphs for you to start researching, to go through like edge center, game center, et cetera. Like all the batters, by the way, like we've got launch angle that we launched.
Oh yeah,
No
shout
pun,
out to
no pun
was that
intended there.
Josh?
Yeah, we got launch angle. We got
Yeah.
average EV on batters now, which is great. That's something that we did not have.
It's actually pretty awesome. And we will be, I believe, we'll be color coding launch angle too.
Yeah.
So if you're kind of like, I have no idea, we are going by the idea that 35% of home runs do come within that 20 to 30 angle. We are not saying that's the only one, but we will be highlighting it as like the sweet spot.
We may color code this too. I didn't realize this still wasn't color coded, but like if you're getting above, especially if you're getting above 30, that's pretty good. You want to
for a launch angle?
Yeah.
Not necessarily.
I mean, was it 25 to 30?
It's 25. What? So it's 20 to 30 is ideal. But if you have a,
I thought it was like 35 was more of the benchmark.
35 is the benchmark, but it's in that zone. But if you, I mean, think about it. If your launch angle is 50 degrees, you might be.
No. That's fair. You know what? Then all right, dumb idea.
It's not a dumb idea. I just was thinking about it today.
Putting that out there. But yeah, so launch angles on here. That's cool. I would just also bring up the fact that Hall of Fame bets. Look, we've got a lot of great data. Hall of Fame bets, though, you can. Handigraphs is designed for you to be looking at guys day to day and who was in the lineup today, who's in the lineup tomorrow, who are they facing, etc. You can look at any of them at any time on Hall of Fame bets, and you can also get the hit rates and a bunch of other stuff. So typically, like we'll go here, and then we're gonna go. You'll see us do this all the time this season, like we did last year. For listeners that are used to this, but we'll start here, go to Hall of Fame bets, and kind of drill down exactly what we want to bet. And sometimes vice versa. We'll use like the trends on Hall of Fame bets, come here, kind of confirm what we're seeing, and then go back and make our bet there. So we're not just saying that because they're a partner, because like this is just literally what we do every day when we're betting. So yeah, I mean,
okay. Well, I was going to ask you. So we have a lot of things that are in there.
Yep.
One thing that we do not have in there is batter versus pitcher, which is a key fight on the internet about value. Shout out to future friend of the pod, Derek Carty, talked about this. I happen to agree with him that I don't think the batter versus pitcher matters because in my opinion, a lot of elements are at play. Guy who's in front of you, guy who's behind you, batter protection and stuff could impact any of the times that you played somebody. But why don't you talk about why we don't have it in there, and then we could talk about how we use Hall of Fame bets when we do want to care.
Sure. I mean, I think in general, Joe, by the way, commenting here in the chat, James Wood 2+ Ks keeping the lights on in my house in 2026. It's so true.
It's so true.
I wish, Joe, that Jackenzie Noel had a spot on some roster, because not only would he be keeping the lights on, but he would also be paying for my AC in a few months. That's
a guy who had a furnace issue for most of winter too.
That's true. Yeah. Well, I thought my furnace. I need to make money this baseball season, because apparently I might be replacing a furnace next off season. Oh. The batter versus pitcher stuff. So like, I'm not going to be somebody that says it's completely irrelevant, never use it, it's totally meaningless. Mm-hmm. I do think there's some guys that just in general own other dudes. Prime example. We've talked about him on this show a lot. When Rafi Devers goes up against Garrett Cole,
yeah,
he owns Garrett Cole's babies. Like he just does. Like he hits him every single time that he goes against him. There are other guys like I think the season. I'm trying to remember. Like it was. I don't know if it was Manaea against Harper. There was a Harper one I remember. Where like,
Harper. If I recall, Harper
owns Severino. Strider. I remember this one.
Owns Severino. Yeah, I think he owns. Well, he doesn't own anything right now. He's kind of playing. He owns property on Baltic Avenue.
Welcome to the Bichette Club. But
yeah. Vlad's another one who seems to who owns Garrett Cole. Garrett Cole has a couple guys that he basically tries to get too cute with, I think, and I can see that happening on like that. What that probably is probably Garrett Cole knowing that this guy previously hit a home run off of him and just being like, I'm going to blow it by him. Like, and you're still not, fuck this guy. So
I go on and say this, that like, there are scenarios, like if back to golden rule number one that we always abide by. Watch the games.
Watch
enough games, you will see guys that, hey, I just know that Rafael Devers, when he goes up against Garrett Cole, is going to probably smash and do something. That being said, batter versus pitcher can also be a extremely noisy metric to use. And the reason that is because the sample size for batter versus pitcher is extremely small in a given season, right? Like even the teams that are in division, you're most likely only going to see the same starter maybe max 3 times in a given season. So when that happens, how many times do you typically
I feel like Mackenzie Gore sees the Phillies like 6 times.
Yeah, well, Mackenzie Gore for some reason seems to own the Phillies as a.
He always plays in the beginning of the season.
That's true. You know what? Last season he did the same shit. He had 13 strikeouts in the first game.
Yeah, because it was a shadow. Yeah.
So, anyways, you've got such a limited sample size. Max amount of times you're going to see somebody in the same season is probably 8 or 9 plate appearances. And if you think about that, just extrapolate that and just think about if I'm capping any batter in a situation, would you want to look at 9 plate appearances as a main weight for what you're going to be doing to your cap? No, it's not. It's we throw it out. We'd be like, it's totally irrelevant that there's only 9 plate appearances in a given season. You need to have at least a somewhat larger sample, 20, 25 plate appearances where we start seeing some sort of significant signal. So, and then if you look at the batter versus pitcher history across multiple years, we all know this. Pitchers add new pitches. They change their delivery. Batters go through phases and periods where they're extremely cold when they're facing a pitcher, and then they change their contact point or they change how they're doing, their swing for launch angle.
Bo Naylor's done this. A lot of guys have done
even
this.
Just think about Bryson. We talked about on the Phillies pod. I'll just bring it up now because it's still fresh in my mind. Bryson Stott was a very much league average hitter, below league average hitter, first half of last season. Changed his swing, became a very much above league average hitter and through spring training. But if you had a starter that had gone up against him, like a Kodai Senga, for example, and then Senga got hurt, you didn't have a lot of data from him later in the season. Yeah, Bryson Stott's batter versus pitcher metrics aren't going to look good for 2025. So all in all, I guess my whole point with it is that is it a metric that you can that can be interesting? Sure. But for me, and I know for you too, I'm much more interested in how is that batter hitting this handedness lately? Does this batter hit lefties really well lately?
Yep.
Then I'll look at things like pitch mix and a few other things. Batter versus pitcher for me is sort of towards the bottom of that list, unless it's a guy that I'm like, oh yeah, this guy has had a significant history against this pitcher. So it might, and
it's usually to your point because the pitcher doesn't have a ton of pitches and they just kind of are like, I know that he's going to do this or do this. But to your point, if a pitcher is adding pitches, which most pitchers are doing now, then how you performed against him 2 years ago is irrelevant because he's going to start throwing you sinkers or he's going to start doing a sweeper or he's going to do something like that. And it's noisy. And to that point, side note, great thing about why you should always read the box scores and look at whatever. The Phillies, while they're losing right now 9-2, have an expected batting average of 328 in this game. And Foster Griffin, we'll look at what it happens next start, but his underlying he's giving up monster hard contact. So keep in mind, I can't wait to
look for some blue in the batted ball area.
Can't wait to bet the Phillies tomorrow. Yeah. So Phillies are getting unlucky, but let's go to Hall of Fame bets and show you why when you do care about the batter versus pitcher, and just bring up this is one of the better features that we love on the site.
I want to try and see somebody that
pick Drake Baldwin because I bet him tonight.
Okay. Oh, that's right. Well, you can literally go to anybody in Hall of Fame bets. So, all right, I got Drake Baldwin up right here.
Man, and then,
you got batter versus pitcher matchup.
Man.
See,
the Brewers are ridiculous.
The great thing with Hall of Fame bets, so it doesn't even have the starter, I guess, listed right here. But this to me, all right, it's only 6 plate appearances, so this is small. But he was a
rookie last year.
Right. So you know what? I'm going to do a better one for you. I'm going to go to our boy Aaron. No, I was going to go to Aaron Judge. So okay, this one's a little bit more relevant because he's facing Castile tonight, and he's seen him, a number of times in his career.
He's a very popular home run pick tonight.
Who, Judge?
Yeah.
I don't know if I love that.
I don't either.
I think
not at plus 288, by the way.
Well, certainly not the price, but also I didn't love some of the stuff I saw from Judge to start the year. He might be got a little bit of the WBC hangover, but he did have a home run. But either way, so this to me is meaningful. 102 for slug and a 11.3. This is insane. 11.3% home run, 18.9% walk rate against the bullpen.
Against the bullpen.
That's across 53 plate appearances. So that to me is going to be more relevant when you're aggregating guys like that than if you're going to be looking at Castillo, who, he's like 250. I mean, his slug is still good. So actually his total base is probably, if you're just looking at total match, plus 110 is not terrible.
I know it was plus 120 earlier. People hammered it.
Yeah, but to me, this is still something though that I would look at. I would look at this and I'm like, oh yeah, that's really interesting to me versus, well, he's only hit 250 against Castile. I don't know if I would feel great about this one. I mean, I'd feel good about it because Aaron Judge at plus money for total bases, but
I know.
That's another example.
It's always the way to go.
Alec Bohm, just curious, by the way, is he going to have anything against Griffin?
Against the Washington bullpen? Yeah.
No, against Griffin, no, but but for bullpen, not great. Not great. 112 plate appearances, and he's got basically a 241 with 426 slug. That's not awesome.
Yeah, well, that whole team stinks tonight, so it's fine. Okay. So then another thing then, okay. So first of all, again, Hall of Fame bets, HOFAP.com, use code DADS. That was another, you just saw it. You saw what we're doing with it. Yeah. We actually know our way around the platform. We're using it all the time. So here's then one last thing. And then I want to move into a futures check. Weather, which has been mentioned it earlier, has been brought up a ton of times. I constantly am saying I don't think wind does not matter outside of Chicago, and a little bit of New York, and I sort of die on that sword, and I'm fine dying on that sword. It is data backed. But today we saw in Kansas City on their home opener a total of 10 on two pitchers. I'd argue had really good springs. To be totally, Bubic had a really good spring.
Bubic had a good spring, yeah.
Simeon Woods Richardson had a really good spring. I think.
I like him. Yeah.
But a 10, and my first response was, is this game being played on the moon? Because everybody sees, the wind's blowing out. And again, our site had it wrong. Our site said, well, we think the wind's kind of blowing in and around, but whatever. It was verified as correct. Everybody was, oh man, we're going to bet this up, bet this over, bet this is what's going to happen. That game ended. I immediately took the under. That game ended. Just want to make sure I have what it was. I want it 3-1. And if I recall, did anyone hit a home run in that game? Actually three. There were Isaac Collins, previous rookie of the year according to Trevor, Kyle Isabel, and Matt Wallner all hit home runs. And all of them were 30 out of 30. So they would have been, these were not wind aided. They would have been home runs in any park, 108, 100, 104. These were no doubters across the board. So I don't think that wind matters and weather, but tell me about what we're doing here with weather when it comes to how we're looking at it, you and I.
I think that, so we have a good episode on this exact
By the way, the
subject.
launch angles were 38, 33, 23, just to let you know.
Okay. So that's
so so it sounds good. Like 20 to 40 is what we really want.
I on the launch angle thing, I have seen it's like 20 to 35. When you get a little bit above 35, that's where it starts to be like, might get a little bit too much arc.
Yep.
So what was the I'm curious on, by the way, the total on that Pirates Reds game,
It
because
was
that's
9. I took the under on that
yeah,
too.
yeah. See, like that was
And
so. I guess the weather stuff, it matters. It definitely matters in some ballparks than others. Prime example: if you're betting Sutter Health Field in June and July versus games in April and May, those totals should be like 10 and a half, 11. Like there's a reason for that. Like it's the humidity. And I look at, to be honest, I don't really care as much at all about wind. Like wind direction, sure, you're going to have the example from opening day where Brandon Lau hit a home run that even when Freddie
then you
Peralta
watched it carry.
that asked after the game, they asked him like, what did you think you made a mistake? He's like, no, he's like, I didn't make a mistake. Like it just carried. Like that was how it works. So like there's obviously there's going to be those types of scenarios. I look at it more at weather to me matters in certain ballparks, especially when it's very humid, it gets very hot. It's the same thing at like George Steinbrenner Field last year, where you will see because that's what's helping carry the ball more than the wind. Like the humidity and the heat actually helps that carry more than the wind blowing it out. But for games, especially in April, if you see a 10 hanging because it's like 78 degrees and sunny, like I'd just go bet the under. Like it doesn't, the wind doesn't matter that much, because the other thing people forget with the wind, that also changes how the batters actually see the ball. Like when you are standing in the batter's box, and if you've got gusts, especially that are blowing either behind you or even like to the side, think about any time that you walk outside and if there's like a gust of wind, right? It does sort of distort your vision for a few, like a second or two. You kind of got to like, you know, work your way around it. And so it does make seeing pitches a little bit harder when you are at the plate with that kind of effect. Then I think it's just like this assumption. It's like, no, like everything's all equal. Like nothing changes with how the batter sees the ball or the pitcher throws the ball in the wind. It's just the ball just goes out because the wind is there. So that's kind of my whole thing on weather. Look, some people will die on their hill on weather and like it matters so much. I just think give me like the guys that are hitting the crap out of the ball with a high barrel and no actual hits in the last couple of games, than for me to be like, oh yeah, but it's really hot and there's wind today, so there's a home run that's coming.
Yeah,
it's just kind of more of a way, like a sort of, well, that's a nice thing to have, but it's not like it's not a core tenet of, I feel like, our handicapping.
I just think that it's overrated. And I kind of, I stand with it. It's just, it matters when people want it to matter, kind of thing. It's kind of like, God, this is blasphemous. It's kind of like how EV is. Use it as people are using it as a signal, but people a lot of times are using it as a be all end all. All right. We are at 30 minutes into this. So real quick, I think we both agree that the storyline of the first weekend is rookies.
Absolutely.
And this rookie class fucks.
Yep.
And we're not going to talk about that right now. Our own version of Keith Law is Javon Alford, and he's going to be here on Wednesday. And we are going to talk all about the rookies, because I'm very excited for this, because as we've told you, you only take long shots when it comes to rookies pre-flop. People are going gaga with these guys. Connor Griffin hasn't even been brought up. But which he will definitely be up by May, given how this Pirates team is hitting. They will definitely do that. I love it. Adrian jumping into the chat. Like, oh, this is Slippin Jimmy. It's kind of like a face reveal for you. So yes, Adrian gave like a really nice thing on Handigraphs for us. Okay, so let's do a futures check. All right. Give me a future that we have in pocket that you feel very good about right now on this very short sample size.
I mean, easy for me. Brandon Donovan, we had him, I'm just looking here. I think he was 160 plus hits, right? No, 150 plus hits. We had Brendan Donovan, 150 plus hits, plus 195 is what we got. That to me, like, we're cashing this by August. I'm telling you, like, he looks awesome. We love the fit coming over to Seattle. So I think he is definitely on the list there. I think I'm looking also at.
I mean, I
had
know
another one that I was going to say that I felt really good about.
Give me a team one.
You go next.
Give me a team one that you feel really good about.
A team one? I think for team. I think the team I probably feel. I'm pulling up our bets here to make sure that I got this correct. So okay, so I feel great about the Brewers to reach 10 wins first, right, in April. That's one that we both liked a lot. And then we had the Dodgers as sort of our safety net one for that at plus 750. Also feel really good about that.
Yeah.
So those are the two just out of the gate I think I feel good about. I feel pretty good about what I saw, even though, and this is going to sound a little contrarian, even though the Jays swept this weekend, they to me did not look like impressive.
Come from behind victories don't do it for me, man. That kills your Pythag.
And again, the main
they lost concern tonight.
The main concern we had with that team coming in was starting pitching and bullpen. Both of those things looked really bad over the weekend. So I still feel okay about the Jays to finish fourth on that team one. And I mean, I think it's such a small sample. Those are the ones I think team wise I felt the best about. We'll talk about some of the ones for that we feel the worst about. But what about? I mean, I know one of the guys you feel great about coming out of the weekend, so I'll let you kind of jump in and talk about him, and then I'd be curious on any of the teams because I know the team that we both feel really bad about. But what team, what guys did you feel good about?
Dale and Lyle, I feel really good about. Dale and Lyle, we have Dale and Lyle at 140 hits at plus 230. He is on pace for 216.
Damn, that's crazy.
So he's been
crazy.
Absolutely what we wanted him to be. I feel really good about that. I think that it's going to come. The offense stuff's going to come, but I feel really, really good about Roman Anthony MVP.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's minor aspects like the way that he knows to challenge and his sense of a strike zone on an ABS, I think is pretty important. Very small sample size. Don't feel really great about my George Springer fade immediately, but I'm hoping that kind of goes away. And the team that I really don't feel good about and I feel really good about Bryce Terang, 160.
I was just about to bring him up. That was the other guy that I forgot to mention. Terang looked great.
Terang looked great. The one I do not feel good about, I do not feel good about any of our White Sox liability. This team looks really bad. I understand that they won tonight against the Marlins, who also don't look great, but I do not feel good about this White Sox team. They just look really unprepared, and just their pitching looks really bad.
Their pitching looks worse than I thought, and their bullpen, which I don't think we really spent enough time on this with Sam, but their bullpen looks really bad too. Here's
the saving grace. Concern. Right now, who is starting for them at catcher?
Because Teal is out.
Right. And that matters. One of the things to always look at is, so who's starting at catcher? Is it, let me just see. What a silly, there you go. Box score. It's Edgar Caro. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Another guy who actually is a young dude who Kyle Teal was blocking his playing time. Edgar Caro is not very good. But I think that Kyle Teal handles this pitching staff a lot better than everybody else. And that's probably part of why they did so much better, towards the end of last year. So I'm assuming that when is Kyle Teal, when is he coming back? Because that's sort of when I want to start judging. Oh my goodness. He is probably not back for a month. So actually, no, wait, that's a lie. He got moved to, he's on the 10-day disabled list with a grade 2 right hamstring. And that was 5 days ago. So he's actually going to be back probably in a couple weeks. So that I think is going to help, but that team does not look good at all. And yeah, that might be one of the ones that we really got wrong.
Yeah. I mean, Yeah, the offense, the only thing I would say with that team is like the offense still looks okay to me. And
Murakami with a 0 BABIP but 3 home run
and the 3 home run. This was so funny. You texted me earlier today being like, "Hey man, I think the data on the site is wrong. Murakami has a BABIP of 0." And I was like, "Yeah, because he hasn't put a ball in play. He's only put them over the fence." So I mean, I think Montgomery had a great first series. Hayes to me looked a little bit unlucky in that series. Like Vargas, same thing. I'll tell you. So one other point about that team though, that they like Chris Getz is should be catching, I think, already a little bit more heat on, and I think he will only continue to get more heat. Holy shit, Luis Robert looked awesome this last.
Luis Robert looks great. I like our Golden Glove bet because
I like that a lot, and I think like to only get Acuna back for that caliber of player. I know I'm also saying this because like it's early in the season. Robert is likely going to get hurt, and he's going to start striking out a lot soon. But so far,
I think they're using him the right way.
That looks like a big win. And one other team that I would also at least put in the good category we should be feeling good about. I think the Astros look like dog shit.
The Astros look so bad.
I think they have some big.
They're beating the Red Sox right now, but they look awful.
Are they? Okay.
Yeah, but Lance McCullers came out and just.
Did you come away with that takeaway from that Angels series and go like, oh, these teams actually don't seem that far apart to me. Like they seem 2-2 seem kind of right. Like I actually thought the Angels.
I didn't know. That series. I didn't know how I won I managed to win a Astros run line bet to a team that was down 4-0.
Crazy.
So yeah, they look terrible.
I think the Angels are going to be fun. That lineup.
I told you this, good. And you were like, they are fun. They're a fun bad team. They're like the Buffalo Sabres. People don't want to hear me say that. They are like the Buffalo Sabres to me. They are like fun and don't really play any defense, and that's fine. But I like this Angels. Yeah, I mean, nobody looks good except for Soriano. So yeah,
I think they're kind of like my drunk Diamondbacks. That's what I'm referring to them as. Like, I think they have a similar makeup in that like this team actually might mash and score a lot of runs. And I am interested to look at their team runs, team total bases day to day, and just kind of see what the prices are because I
took them for extra base hits tonight against.
Oh right, 3.5, right?
Yeah. They haven't scored any runs, but that doesn't mean that this isn't gonna like wildly hit. And something I had a lot of off reads, but you know what? It'll be fine. I had a lot of good reads.
It's early in the season.
Elder stand. You know what the E in Elder stands for? It stands for eat it, and they make him eat it anytime he goes out, and I love it, and it's great. And
he's an OTD guy, man. He's out to die. That's what they do with him. It's typical.
It is. All right. You got any dad moves? How do we want to wrap this up?
Dad moves. I do have a dad move. Okay. And I'm gonna give a shout out to one of our friends of the pod here because we called him actually out earlier. So Trevor and the Pump Fake Pod. I'm gonna give you guys a shout out because dad move for me of the week is when you are in the middle of a very intense or like you can tell it's going to be sort of an epic legendary sports moment. Make your wife drive if you have to get in the car. That's my dad move. I had Michelle drive yesterday. I was watching the last couple minutes of that Duke UConn game, which
Are you serious?
Was fantastic. Like one of the best probably finishes I've ever seen in March Madness. And yeah, we were about to get in the car. She's like, "Are you driving?" I was like, No. You're driving this time, hon. Like I'm putting this on YouTube TV on my phone and finishing it. So if you have to, I reserve that only for when you can tell like this is like 13-second style type of game stuff I'm talking about. Yeah. Like, but pull that card because it's there and make them drive and try and finish the game on your own.
Pretty much. That's a good way to do it. Usually, or just, I mean, mine has always been hey, can you just take the kids for like 10 minutes and I can do this? And it's usually on a Saturday and it just doesn't go well. So appreciate the fact that
The
you
only
said,
one where that doesn't work, by the way, is if you're in like the example for me is like if you're watching a very very high quality tennis match. So Scott Reichel would sympathize with this one. The Alcaraz Djokovic one a couple years ago. You're not getting 10 minutes. Like you're gonna need like another hour, 2 hours. So that one you might just have to make up. You have some indigestion issues or something. But for most of them, you can just get the 10 minutes and you're
fine. That makes sense. All right. I think that's it. We're gonna have Javon on Wednesday. We're gonna talk rookies. Again, thank you to our sponsor, Hall of Fame Bets, using code DADS. Come on by Handigraphs. We'll take you. We go really well with everything, as we like to say. Check out Handigraphs, shoot us a DM, give us also comments and 5-star reviews. And on Apple, somebody wrote a really, really nice review about us on Apple. Let me pull that up. That was someone wrote that we were funny and that we were like comical and good, and we had good chemistry. What was this? It was like one of the nicest things anyone has.
Yeah, it was like I think it was like when we were recording this in August.
Great person. Yeah, it was like it was like 7 months ago. So this was prime football. Great personalities and commentary. The banter is natural and comedic. And then they gave us a 5-star review. We have no other reviews there. So if you want to do it, now we are all set up where if you give reviews, people will see them and it's great. So thanks guys for all that. Shout out to Spencer. You are a dog. And and with all that, CJ, what would you say is the final word?
Bo Bichette for Alec Boehm. Who says no?